Oh, yeah.
I just want to like... This means a lot.
Someone rubbing oil on your chest. Just at the moment, just in completely losing sight of what everyone's going through in their day-to-day life, which is my general material.
How are you been? You all right, though?
I think so. Obviously I'm quite heavily pregnant. I'm very preoccupied with that. I feel like I'm just verging on feeling compromised for the first time. I keep losing my grip on things. I've got this thing called carpal tunnel, and I dropped the dinner on the floor yesterday. I thought that I was gripping it, but obviously I wasn't.
The last time I seen you was at your house in Hackney. You're from Hackney, right? Because I remember you telling me you grew up in Stoke Newington.
Stoke Newington and Dalston.
Because you said I know you're really close to your mum. You was telling me as well, and you were saying to me like, what I was surprised about is how you were very much like, yeah, everyone knows me around here. I do the school run and boom, 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 boom. Also being in the public eye as well. But you seem like, when I was at your house, you seem like a cool, vibey mum. Do you know what I mean?
I like to think of myself as a cool
No, you're a cool, vibey mum. I feel like you're one of those mums where it's just like...
I'm in there doing finger painting, making stuff out of cereal boxes.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those mums where it's just like, listen, I don't mind you smoking, but just not downstairs, all right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that with a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. Not yet.
No, but you know what I mean though, innit? Like,
yeah, I'd rather it was in front of me. We can talk about anything. Age 2 with a cigarette.
Let me tell you about nursery.
No joke as well. When I was growing up, I remember. Miss Rachel,
She's all right, isn't she?
No joke. I remember going to someone's house when I was like my friend was working in the Safeways in Barbican, and I went to pick her up, and she was like, let me just stop by my friend's house. I went to his housing estate, and this lady was sitting there, and she's sitting on her sofa, I'm not even exaggerating, and she's like, Terry! She goes, spark that out for me. And Terry was literally a 3.5-year-old child. This is tragic, but he went up to the oven, he did the ignition, he put the gas hob on, and he leant in, sparked up a fag for his mum, 3.5 years old, and brought it in. Where you go? She went, good boy, I was like stunned. I didn't know what to say because I was like 18, 19. But if it was now,
put that on Jeremy, Kyle. We need that on Jeremy. Talk to the youths. But like, you've always been quite like creative. You went to Central St Martin's College of Art and Design. Yeah,
when I was just after my degree to do a master's. Yeah.
What is it that made you like? Because you've done your master's, but what was the vibe in the shift in going there?
Well, I always was really good at art at school, and I went to dance college for my first degree because I thought in my head, youth lends itself to physicality. Then I thought, because I'm 18, I'll go to do dance training. But then I spent my whole time just pining for art school, and then I just went straight to art school to do like a 1-year master's. And I got all that stuff off my chest. I did something in time-based art, so sort of directing, designing for theatre.
So you've always been quite a creative person, because even in your house, it's like it's very vibrant, very colourful. It feels like, you know, like your personality is in your house. Does that make sense?
It's my identity.
Yeah, but I see that in terms of the pictures and the wallpaper and the vibe and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like, where does performing and singing
growing up in East London as well, you get teased for that. They're like, she's off key, she's so off key.
What, for singing though?
I didn't sing back then. It was always
just art.
Yeah, she's cool, but she's so off key.
So, yeah, she's cool, but she's drawing, you know, bro. What was you drawing back then?
Loads of stuff, just everything. I mean, my projects were quite advanced, I think. For A-level, I did a whole piece on sex workers.
That's what I mean.
And I was 17. Well, like meeting them with empathy.
Wait. I'm like, what are you drawing? You're like everything. But the first piece was about sex workers. Yeah.
No, it's because we went on this art project with college. I was 17 and everyone was sort of, like young and silly. And it was in Paris. And we went to Red Light District and there's this big sign for a Peep show. And I thought that I had seen a Peep show before because Madonna's music video had the screens going up and down. And I was like, it's that. So everyone was like, we're going to go Peep show. It's €5 each if we all chip in. There was 6 or 7 of us from college and we went. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And because I was a bit prudish. And they were like, no, come on. And so we went into this place and this lady took us up in the lift. She started sort of talking to me in different languages because I spoke different languages and they didn't, the other kids. So
what languages did you speak?
Well, I was speaking to her like Italian and Spanish, a bit of French, like a mixture.
Where did you learn this from?
Well, I'm half Spanish, but then once you know one Latin language, you can kind of muddle through.
Yeah, with Italian. Yeah.
And so we were up and looking back in hindsight until at that point I didn't realise, but she was sort of flirting with me. Anyway, the woman who took us up in the lift led us into this room and there was like 6 or 7 of us 17-year-olds, boys and girls, and she was the woman who was going to be the Peep show, but it wasn't a Peep show, it was just us in a room. And she started taking her clothes off and touching herself with a selection of vibrators and dildos. Anyway, she asked if we wanted to join in. I was shocked. I was 17 and then
join in.
Yeah, and everyone ran out of the room, like all the other kids, and me being me, like I've sort of stayed the same person, was really worried about her feelings, like the shame of all these kids going. So I was like, you can stop, but I won't run out. Like, I'm sorry they did that. And she was like, okay. And then I started asking her lots of questions, like, what's happened? She was like, were you here to explore your sexuality with your friends or whatever? And I was like, no, I actually didn't really want to come, but they did, and now they've run out, and I'm sorry that they degraded you or whatever. And I was like, well, why'd you do this job? And she started saying, I'm a single parent and I can't make enough money from other work and pick my kids up. The hours are right, and I've got 2 kids to support, blah blah. She told me like all this stuff about her, and she started like saying, like, she started welling up because it was so vulnerable. It was actually sort of conceptually more intimate than just somebody putting a dildo up inside themselves. And I had this conversation with her and I was like, I'm so sorry that people disrespected you or whatever. And she was like, you're a good person, you're going to go far. And then I left and I gave her a hug, and it was almost like she was my mother. Like, she was really maternal. She was like really kind. And then I left, and then I did this whole art project about her and her field and looked at it with empathy.
Oh, wow.
That was me. And when I got out, everyone was like, oh my God, what happened? And I was like, you lot are out of order, man. And they're just still there, all just like, oh my God, what did you do? Did you lips her? And I was just like, no, I didn't. I sat there and talked to her.
Right, boy, we went to the Natural History Museum, boy. That is not the school trip we ever went on. So how did singing come into your life then, and performing?
Well, performing from day, really. I started ballet classes when I was 4. And it was because my mum's dyspraxic. She didn't want me to be awkward on the dance floor like she was. Singing was just because I just used to sing along. My favourite singer was Erykah Badu in the 90s. And I sort of used to kind of try and like copy her a bit.
Why don't you call on Tyrone?
Yeah, I was just, and I was working bars and I was singing along like, oh, on and on and on and on. Like while I was, and then someone heard me and said, would you like to write some music together? And I just sort of fell into it. I was like, yeah, okay. And so it started like that, but I never thought it would be anything.
Sorry, you can't just sing that note and just go back into normal conversation.
Why not? Open your mind, Mo.
It was so seamless. It was like a Scooby-Doo-wop-bop-bop. And then, we had like biscuits and tea. And you know, like when early on in your career when you would sing, would you like shock rooms when people would hear you sing?
No, I wasn't very good. I was rubbish. And then I took some singing lessons from someone who was like, "You're actually better than you think you are." And I was just like, no, because all the people that I held in high esteem were so much better than me. I was like, I'm not the singer I'd want to be. And I think when I kind of stopped wanting to be someone else and just accepting who I was when I started to take it seriously. But I actually got a record deal and booked a tour before I even thought. I mean, I thought it was a bit of a joke.
Because you were signed to Epic Records? Was it Epic Records?
Yeah, Sony. I've been on Sony since the beginning in different guises, but I just thought after my first tour I started losing my voice and I was a bit like, I better do some lessons. I bet if I'm going to take this seriously.
Yeah, of course.
I was a bit like, I'm a bit of a chancer. I still feel like I won the lottery, like a bit of an imposter.
Really?
Yeah, I just sort of think, how did I end up here? When people are like on comments on Instagram and stuff, they're like, yeah, she's just trying to save her finished, done for career. Like, trying to make herself relevant again or whatever. I'm like, babes, I've been irrelevant my whole career. What are you talking about? This is fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. I've never actually had anything that feels like a job. Well, I have, because I did till I was 27, 28, I worked in retail and bars and all that. That felt like work.
Mad about retail. Do you know one day I seen you in Topshop in Oxford Street? I walked past you.
Really, but I wasn't working. I was.
Well, you was Paloma Faith from.
Oh, just shopping.
Yeah, but I remember walking past. I was like, "Rah, that's Paloma Faith." Oh, rah. You know, like when Topshop. I think it was at the time where like people would like hang outside. Like you get models that hang outside to get scouted and stuff. And
you were standing there just like.
Me, I
waiting,
was like,
looking, like just doing your best Zoolander pose.
Is there any French models here?
I'm just casually. This is where I always stand. What are you talking about?
Is there any French models here? No. Oui, you miss out today. So you get signed, and would you say you suffer with that kind of imposter syndrome then?
Yeah, but I think most creative people do. I think. Just like, oh God, when are they going to work it out?
Yeah.
When am I going to be discovered? I think the ones who don't suffer from that are usually really untalented and terrible at what they do and cause a lot of problems and have a very large rider.
What do you have on your rider? What do you have?
Nothing really, just like
anything.
Water, hummus and carrots.
Yeah.
My best friend's mum, that she's from Liverpool, and apparently she came backstage to one of my gigs and she called her daughter and she was like, the veg, Catherine, the veg they had on for her, she had every raw vegetable possible. It was so impressive. I was like, the gig was good as well, was it, Mum?
Because I feel like when I got into entertainment, I didn't even know what a rider was.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, one of my mates who's my tour manager, Javan, he said, what do you want for your rider? And I'm like, what's that? What is that?
I actually had a moment in my career where I asked to look at my rider and there was stuff on it I wasn't asking for that wasn't making it into my dressing room. And there was this brand of wine called Oyster Bay. And for years, apparently, it was on there. Crates and crates of this wine. I don't really drink. I was like, who's drinking this? To the band like Oyster Bay. Anyway, found out my tour manager, the production side, was an alcoholic and was ordering it and just smuggling it into his room. Anyway, we had to get rid of him. But
is it?
Yeah, we were like, what?
How much is this
How many
wine?
years have you been drinking me out of Oyster Bay?
Oh my God.
And it's
Is
not
it
even very
expensive?
nice. It's just really high percentage alcohol. I don't know if it's expensive because I don't know. But
Oyster Bay.
Oyster Bay. Now, every time I see a bottle of it, I just quake.
When you go in odd bins. I've
Especially
never been in odd bins. I want to go there.
People look at your rider and judge who you are.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do these people think I'm like?
I feel like amongst musicians, and anyone listening, that the rider is basically what you have in your dressing room in terms of like what, I don't know, certain water you might want or drink or sweets or anything, which I come to find out once I started touring that I'm paying for this.
Yeah.
So as much as I might sit there and be like, I'd love a bottle of Jack Daniels, I don't drink myself, but if I say I want a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever, I am paying for this.
Unless it's a private gig.
Yes.
Then they put it in and you can up the ante. You can have the private gig rider and then your rider.
What's the private gig? I've never done a private gig. I've done like a corporate gig.
Yeah, corporate, same.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. Have you ever heard through the grapevine of other musicians that have got crazy riders?
Only ones that I read in Just 17 when I was a kid.
Like what?
Like Madonna's Everything Has to Be White.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think it's like a folklore thing with musicians, though? Do you think it's like the more exaggerated it is, the more like you hear it through the grapevine?
Maybe, but
like,
majority of the time, I think it's the teams around these people that are making it so.
Yeah.
And they're probably walking in going, oh, wow, this is amazing. They've done it. And then they're like, she likes it. Let's just put it on again. But I think if you actually ask them, most artists would be like, oh no, it's cool not to cover the walls in sheets. I don't mind.
Yeah. Because I've gone to like, music festivals, and I remember once going to Love Box, and the backstage area, they were like, yeah, because Frank Ocean was going to perform. And it was like, yeah, we're closing it all off. Frank wants no one backstage. And you're like, mate, I've got a pass.
Did he really ask that as well?
But that's what I always think. That's why I wanted to ask the musician, do you think that some of these musicians are asking for this, or it's their management?
Doubt it. I was at Love Box once and they said Grace Jones had ordered like 100 oysters backstage.
That's so much oysters, man. It's a lot of oysters.
And if you just, it only takes one bad one, and Grace's show's not happening.
Yeah.
She's in that porter cabin.
Oh.
Portaloo. It's risky.
So what's it like when you sign with a big, you sign a record deal, you put a tour on, your first album is Do You Want the Truth or Something Beautiful? What's that feeling like?
Well, I signed a really shit deal. My first record deal was terrible.
Why? What?
Because nobody else was offering. I sort of thought it wouldn't last. I didn't really think. I mean, they signed me for 5 albums.
And for context of anyone listening, what is it like signing for 5 albums? Is that a bad deal?
Well, you have to make 5 albums, which takes quite a long time if you do one every 2 to 3 years.
So there's a time span on it.
Yeah, so you're looking at like whatever they've offered you financially to live on for the rest of your life. And I signed like for 5 albums for like between like 20 and 60 grand an album. If you think about, if I did one every 2 years, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like it wasn't a huge salary. So I didn't even buy a house till I came out of that deal because I didn't have enough money I was renting and like people would walk, I was quite sort of famous already, and people would walk in to my rental flat because it had a shared entrance with someone else and take pictures of my stuff and then post it online and be like, this is Paloma Faith's flat, like her bedroom. And I'd sleep in this double bed with all my clothes around it because there's no space for anything.
Yeah.
Like it's basically sleeping in the wardrobe. And and I was getting like £20 an album. But then I got out of it and then I was like, I now would like to own some security. That was the most amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think as well, even though sometimes I think, oh, I got ripped off, sometimes I think, I wonder whether I would have had the career that I've had if I hadn't had that motivation to keep going, to get to the point where I could make some money out of it.
Yeah, of course.
Because sometimes you hear these deals that people do from my peers or whatever, artists that got signed for like £2 million or whatever, and then they just disappear, and you're like, well, maybe they'd lost motivation because they just thought, I've got a house and
they got everything they needed.
This is really hard. Whereas like I was like, well, I've not got any stability. I have to just keep plugging away until and then. But I do also think it's work ethic. But if you like, I was raised by my mum on her own, and she was such a workaholic that was my example. So I sort of copied it.
And I guess as well, it's like if you have that when it's your passion as an artist or a performer of anything, of like, well, I have this of where it's taken to come from this. And now I'm here. I can only just keep working.
Yeah, it's
hard.
like your driving
Do you know what I mean?
lessons, isn't it? You fail your test. You've got to keep going.
Great analogy. Yeah,
you can't
it's so true,
keep failing.
Because it's true. Because I remember when I done my driving lessons and we had to do reverse round corner. Oh my God!
Were you up on the curb?
Oh, that one used to haunt me.
And you couldn't put a miniskirt on to pass.
I remember. I just got that. I was sitting there
could, but it might have been weird.
I was so close to being like, yeah, you couldn't. No.
Yeah.
But I remember doing that, and you sit there and you're like, what is the point of this? Reversing around the corner, I'm never going to do it. And I remember doing a test, and my instructor was like, don't worry, this one will never come up. And I had this one instructor, and I tried to like do the whole, I'm going to book this lesson somewhere a little bit just out of London. I'd done it in Sutton. We drove all the way there, and then I was like, cool, here we go. I'm going to definitely pass, quiet area. And then they're like, okay, great, quick manoeuvre. Just something simple. If you can reverse round the corner. I said, oh, man.
Have you ever reversed around the corner in life since?
No, I don't think I ever have. But now it's different because I've got cameras on my, reverse cameras. So when I reverse, I can see everything. Don't even need to look backwards. But back then, you're like...
I had a really good driving instructor.
Oh, I hated it,
He
man.
had like loads of gold rings. He used to lean out. If it was sunny, blaring garage.
Is it?
Yeah, and we'd just be like, sweet like chocolate bar in the car. I don't think he did any teaching whatsoever. Just be like,
let's go where you want to go. Actually, you can drop me off to baby mum's. That'd be great. So your second album debuted at number 2 on the album charts, and it earned you 2 Brit Award nominations. What was it like when you started getting that recognition as an artist, that kind of industry recognition? Because I feel like we all get to points in our career where you're doing the thing that you love to do, and you earn a bit of money from it, and you're like, oh, this is nice. I'm earning a living of doing what I get to do. But then you start getting recognition, whether it's from your peers or like Brit Awards. How was that for you?
I just never thought I'd win, and I thought, oh, sweet, they're acknowledging me. I just thought that's nice of them. But I never thought I'd get one. I think it wasn't until I got one. I was so shocked that night. Like when I actually won the award, I just was so overwhelmed. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely didn't think that I would win. So I didn't prepare anything. I talked for ages. I mean, like some people just, when they've not prepared something, do the sensible thing, go, thanks, and sit down. But I think I took up a half an hour's show.
Everybody coming.
Just was on about the underdogs and all sorts. And then forgot even to thank the most important people as well. But like,
is that important though, that you thank the people who make the albums and stuff? Because some of those people like to be in the background.
I think all the background people secretly really wish that they were acknowledged at the front. Because everyone looks at you and you get all the accolade, but really people work so hard. Like behind every successful person there are people just really plugging away. And like it's really important to me to acknowledge that. And I think when I did my speech, that was what I wanted to get at, was like not just the people behind me, but also I was thanking like the waiters that night, the people who were going to clean afterwards. I was thanking everyone. And then the next day it was quite sweet because I took my mum to Spain for like a long weekend, and we were in the in the airport and went through security, and security guys putting all the stuff in the trays just went, "Thank you." I said, what for? And he goes, "Giving us your award last night, the underdogs." And I was like, "Oh my God, you watched?" He was like, "Yeah, a lot of us talked about it today and we feel seen. Thank you." And I was like,
wow.
I was just like, but it's true. There's so many people. You know, we've worked in retail. I've done other jobs as well that like don't go acknowledged. So yes, to me, that's probably the most important aspect of winning an award, would be to highlight the work that goes on around you rather than you getting it. Because I get the privilege of every night walking on the stage and hearing the claps and seeing the seats full and all of that. And I feel like I'm kind of very much full of that feeling of like, wow, there's a reason to keep going. But I think a lot of the people who work behind the scenes don't really ever get that. They're like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
Especially if you're just going out and everyone's like, she's amazing. And then you're like, well, I've been doing this for 16 years. Yeah, I wrote the bloody song. You're sort of like, right, it's kind of more for them, I feel.
Of course. Does it matter in terms of, like, because having hosted the Brits, it'll be so...
Little drop.
Come on, you know, little plug there, you know, twice. Let them know what was going on in 2022, 2023. But no, you know what was interesting, I think for me, is everyone kept saying to me, "Oh, you know, like how are you nervous and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, but my job is just to pull the strings of this. I'm not sitting there on a table with a record label and a bunch of other artists, knowing that, you know, when the camera's on, because when you go on the floor and you see the tables and there is the, you know, the record execs, and it's, you know, you're sitting next to someone who's also nominated. And I'm like, well, I've just got to host the thing. After this, I go back. But my arena is stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And in comedy, there is no real award show. Like, comedy's not based on
the funniest person goes to.
Yeah, and the funniest man of the year. Yeah. Telling the knock-knock joke, it's Mo. And the winner, that doesn't happen. And don't get me wrong, there have been comedy awards in the past, and I did win one of them, which was... And it was mad because I'd done the classic. I wasn't there to pick up the award.
Did you do the video?
I'd done the video. I was like, oh, guys, I'd love to be there, but I'm currently in LA right now.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to, like, this means a lot.
Someone rubbing oil on your chest. Just at the moment, just in LA.
You know,
completely losing sight of what everyone's going through in their day-to-day life, which is my general material.
No, I really appreciate the award. But it was... because it's a comedy award as well. So it was like, oh, this is, I really, like, again, it was like a massive achievement, and being acknowledged for, you know, the award was huge. Like, my mum was there, my sister was there. I think whenever those moments happen, it's really for my mum and my family, where it's like, my mum picked up the award on my behalf and stuff. But also, it's that classic thing where you got to pretend like you didn't know, but then you're on camera and you're like, hey, just, sorry guys, I can't be there tonight. I just want to say, like, this here, wow,
means so much to me. I didn't get on the plane.
This is what you read was like, hi, this is pre-recorded. I kind of knew about it 2 weeks ago. Knew I wouldn't be there, but you guys are there right now, and I'm not. But what does it mean when you're in the room though? Like, I'd be really intrigued to know what it's like. I
felt shocked and emotional, and I was surprised at my reaction, because I've spent my whole life being not a very nice person, laughing at people for crying when they got an award, and then what did I do? I cried.
You won an award and you cried.
I was like, oh my God, you're a dickhead. But I have ways to sort of counter my overwhelmedness by justifying it. So my two ways to kind of get over it was, number one, going for a long weekend with my mum, because my mum doesn't really give two shits about things like that. So that kept me grounded. And then the second one was just convincing myself someone high up at Sony had paid for me to win it. Because I wasn't doing very well. So that's how I got through it. And then I just started worrying about when the next check was coming, calling management. What we going to do? I've got to keep this career going.
Does that happen?
Yes. That's me. That's a day.
No, I'm talking about like the record.
Oh, I don't know. Well, is the Illuminati real? I've never been asked to join them.
No, there's no black people in there, boy. I don't know why you're asking me, boy.
I've never been asked. My sister was so into it, and then when I started getting a bit famous, she was a bit like, "Tell me then, have they called you?"
I had one of those it's weird when I hosted the Brits the second time. I was wearing a red suit, and someone said to me, "Is like
red coats."
No, do you know what they said? They said, "Can I ask you something?" I said, "Yeah, what's up, man?" Because this is at a time when I just finished doing a show in LA as well. It's like, "I seen a picture of you online, and have you been compromised?" I was like, "What?" I'm thinking like, "What do you mean, like hacked or social media or something?" I was like, "So I don't know." She goes, "No, because like I think you might be compromised. Some people get compromised, and they don't know." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "No, because at the Brits, he was wearing this red suit," and I was like, "I just wore
People
that."
just analysing the hell out of stuff.
Because I wore it, one, because we've done a suit change, so I had to go from a purple suit. So I was like, well, I can't wear black because it's two things. So I was like, let me wear red, and then I'll put like a nice black silk shirt, basically, in it. And then it was like, yeah, because you wore like a red suit.
Symbolic.
So you might be compromised. Are you? I was like, what, me? From South London, from Peckham? I said, come on, man. Chill out, man. Drink your drink, man. What's going on here, man?
If anyone's watching from the Illuminati, I just want to say the answer's yes.
It's no from me, boy. Christ. Each and every time, bro. The Lord Savior, Jesus Christ. Not me. You can drink the juice. I'm all right, you know. But what's the after parties like? Because that is, I feel like, as much as there is the occasion and there's the show, what is the? Because I know that I didn't know the after party was such a big thing.
It is. It's such a big thing, and you've got to you've got to be sort of loyal to your label and go to your label one. But then there's always a better one.
I had the better one, yeah.
Did you? Who was at the better one?
Everyone was at my one.
What was it, Warner's?
No, my one was my own one.
Your own party?
Yeah, so I didn't know the after party thing was a thing.
Where was my invite?
That was 2022. I don't think you were there, though.
Anyway, babes.
But you wouldn't have come, though. You didn't know me them times like that.
I would have come.
Nah, I don't believe you, know. You'd be like, who's that?
I would have.
Who's that? I'm not going to that. I didn't know the after party thing was a thing. And I think the first year, we went out somewhere in central London and everyone was there. And then the second year, I had my own after party because I was like, this is the thing. And it was phenomenal. Like,
you're like, I threw this, I can't believe it.
I think what people liked about it is it wasn't bougie. Because a lot of times you can go to these things and it's very much hi. Yeah, this is cool, but we might go to, there's a private one happening. Like,
yeah, have you got the VIP to the VIP to the VIP to the VIP?
Yes, yeah.
And then you're like, no, I wasn't asked for that one.
Yeah, and it gets a little bit like, yeah, okay, this isn't, because people do that. They get to one and like, this isn't the one. Like, I've been to one.
My last
this is
one
cool.
was not the one.
You had your own one?
No, not my own. Just the one I went. The choice I made.
Oh, did you go to the label one?
Yeah.
But the label ones are like, I get it though, innit? Because I think
You've got to go. Say.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
You've got to put an appearance.
Yeah, my one was. Do you know how I knew my one was good? Because straight after party was on the Sunday. I flew to LA. Terrible jet lag. Practically woke up kind of Monday because I've been traveling on the Sunday. Wake up, I've got all these missed calls, missed messages. Oh, how come I didn't get an invite? Oh man, I'm gutted I didn't come to your party. It looked so good.
I'm gutted in retrospect.
Oh man, it was so good. I was in the middle, body popping. I'm trying to clash people. Anyway, let's move on from me. So
don't lie. You just want to stay on that.
Oh no! Listen, that party. Do you know what it was though? That party, I genuinely felt like a superstar because it was my party. If that makes sense. And comedians, we don't do these things. That's not our thing to do parties and events and be the center of attention away from the stage. So to do the whole like, oh man, I heard you've got a thing like.
Can I?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, shut your van. He'll get you the details. Yeah, it was very, 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 very vibey. You're one of those musicians where I felt like you could stop doing music today and go into something else. And I feel like you've got one of those personalities where away from music, you know, because you've done acting and, you know, you've been a judge on television but you're also really funny. Like, and I remember saying this to you and I was just like, why don't you ever do something like a stand-up?
I just think it's so much easier to be funny if no one's expecting you to be funny.
But you're like
I don't envy you.
But you're a personality though, I think, because you get some people who are musicians.
It's just all
and
the
actors.
trauma.
No, but honestly, like, I mean
it's
it.
true.
I mean it.
It's just so much trauma.
I genuinely mean it. I think when I first met you, we met at that event in Central, and it was so funny because that's the first time we had ever met.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's up? How are you? You're right. And he was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just here. And I was like, yeah, me too, man. But you're very much a personality in a sense of, do you find it like hard in a sense where, like, you know, like when you walk into a room, you light up a room and you light up a space. And do you find it also hard where, you know, you as a musician is almost like, yes, like I'm a musician and I have a bubbly personality, but is it sometimes like a juxtaposition where it's just like, yeah, we want you to go on the TV show and we want that Paloma Faith. We want you to be bubbly and say this joke and do that thing. Whereas you're like, yeah, like I'll do that because I'm going to be myself. Does that make sense?
What are you asking? If it's a burden to be this charismatic? God. Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, do you know what it is, yeah? Because I feel like sometimes I've met musicians and they're like, yeah, like with my personality, people like my personality, but then my music, they're like two separate entities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, I think for the beginning of my career, I was struggling. I tried to, you know, I'd go on TV and I'd sing and nothing would happen. And then the first time that I ever did a show, it was a panel show, was Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and I didn't sing, and my album went to number 1 literally overnight. And it was like, oh, people are buying into like this person that they think. A lot of the comments are always, I'd love to go for a pint with her.
Yeah, no, but it's true,
I'd love to go for Nando's with Paloma or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't try and overanalyze, like, because I just think if it is what it is, I'm just grateful that I've got a job, like I've got a career, and that sometimes I get into spaces, we all do, where we think, oh, it's probably the end. So, you know, like maybe I've like the lucky road that I was on has come to an abrupt end, and that's it.
Yeah, of course.
And then something will happen where I'll just like go on TV and it will really have a great impact, or I'll put an album out and I'll sell out a tour or whatever. And I just feel so lucky that I don't really care what it is. I think for some people it's one thing. I mean, there are people who write comments like, shut up and sing. So those ones obviously love the music.
How do you find that with online like negativity? How do you take to that stuff? Because I feel like you've come from an era where social media wasn't at the forefront of, you know, of who you are as a personality, where you didn't have an Instagram where someone can leave a comment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, maybe for a bit, but I was the beginning of it because it was MySpace when I started. It was like a big launch of all of that, people's opinions. I try to take it with a pinch of salt, but it depends on the day, doesn't it? Sometimes you're like, oh no. this person's confirming my deepest doubts about myself.
Yeah.
Like, all I see here is a little girl that didn't get any love from her father. Yes. And then you're like, shit.
Got me.
Yeah, you said the truth. When they're like, she's just da-da-da, and they completely misunderstand you, you think, oh, whatever.
What made you write a book? Why did you title it MILF?
Well, it was a play on the word motherhood, identity, love and fuckery was what I actually called it. But I talk about that word because there's a lot of people who used to be like, oh, you're a bit of a MILF, as if it was like, us as men have given you the badge of being fuckable despite having children. Well, thank you very much. We are so grateful. So I decided to turn it on its head and just be like, I don't really like it. Most women let themselves go entirely. You haven't. You know, it's just awful. So it's a bit of a joke on that.
What was it like in terms of delving into a different space, though, as opposed to...
I wouldn't say I'm a great writer. I think I wrote how I think, and it was more like anecdotal, and it was a joy to do, and it was at a time where I couldn't do loads because I was not in a great place. Well, my go-to thing's always been like when I'm in trauma, I just overwork. Yeah. So I broke up my two existing children's dad, and I just went into like hyper productive mode. I wrote a book, I wrote an album, I like learned how to be a single parent, like all these things all at the same time. I just went into hyperdrive, and it was a consequence of that.
What do you look forward to in terms of like when you're away from the camera and the limelight? Because when we done your pod, you was like, yeah, I can do the school run. Like, I'm like, yeah, all the mums know me and everything and stuff. And like, when you are away from the limelight, the microphone and the cameras, what's the thing that keeps you ticking and wanting? Because I know you're your mum and you're about to have another child.
Yeah.
Got your third child on the way. But what is the thing that keeps you ticking? Because I feel like your spirit is so pure in the sense of, I can see why people would say, I want to have a drink with that person, or a Nando's, or I've got this comment, and you know what, yeah, it's true, but also I'm really blessed to be in this, so don't really care. Like, what is the thing that like keeps you ticking away from whatever we see online?
I just really I like people a lot. I really love... I've always been like that. Like, you know, you said I've always been a creative person. My sort of endeavours have all, when I look at them all, like the book, the acting, the music, everything is sort of fueled by this universal subject, which is about understanding what makes us, like, what are the universal qualities that we all go through as human beings in spite of our circumstances. Yeah. Having, like, been brought up in sort of one kind of way and then found myself like hobnobbing with people who've probably had money their entire lives and been able to sit in a room and think, oh, what is it that makes us all the same? Yeah, I'd say it's that. Like, I'm just interested in chatting to people and like understanding them. And I'm also somebody who's quite I'm like, sometimes management have to separate me from people, because if someone tells me their life story, I sort of start trying to figure out how I can help fix everything. Yeah, of course. I'm like, management are like, get Paloma away from that person in the corridor that's telling, because otherwise she'll have set up a charity for them by the next day, and she's quite busy. Like, they're just like so I'm sort of like, I don't know, I think we're all the same. And not to quote, like, try and, you know, plagiarise John Legend, but we are just all ordinary people. And and I believe that. I think there's no difference between... I think success is not always talent. It's usually how to, first of all, recognise an opportunity and see it as such, and then have the confidence to seize the opportunity. Most people that I know who haven't maybe got success have regrets where they go, I remember this time this man asked me if, I wanted to go and meet at his office, but I bottled it, or, or whatever. Or they say, like, oh, I used to do a bit of this and that, but then I didn't go for it because I felt it wasn't safe. And I know that happens because my mum's like super lights up a room, charismatic and all that. But like her thing from her perspective, my whole career has been like, stop now, get a safe job. The whole time she's like, just stop now, please get on a PAYE, get your pension sorted. Like she's like, you need to train to be a teacher. And she still thinks that. Like, she's like, it's just too up and down. How do you cope? Like, here today, gone tomorrow. We worked in safety, my generation. That's what we went for. And then we're just all going, I'm going to invest my own money in my business or whatever. And they're like, how much?
Yeah.
You could have bloody put a down payment on a rental flat for that.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I hope it will accumulate more and they might have two. That's just greed. That's my mum's attitude.
I think that generation, especially, I think it's just also parents, because my mum's the same. When I told my mum I'm going to buy a house, she's like, why? I said, well, why not? Because no one in my family ever bought a house. No one ever owned any property. And I said, well, Mum, I need to buy a house. Like, I can't rent. She goes, yeah, you can rent. Your council house you lived in was rented. And I was like, I hear that, Mum, but we didn't own it. Do you know what I mean? Before you leave, you've got such an illustrious career of...
Thank you for using that word.
Oh yeah, I pop out the big words every now and then. Listen, that's what I'm saying. You don't get to host the Brits for nothing. Do you know what I mean, Paloma?
The vocab. That's
what I'm saying. I'm available 2027. Let me know. Probably not. I'm on tour. Like in terms of your career, because it's like you're in a space where you have a really successful podcast. You're writing a book and you're very creative and you're a musician that can sell out tours and albums, but you're also a personality, which is very, very rare. How do you see like your career as you get older? Do you know what I mean? And your kids might say, hey, like, I want to get into this too. And what advice could you give me? You sit here and you say you're very lucky. I personally don't believe that. I feel like you're very blessed and you're a very good people person. Like when I came to your house, you was like, yeah, come sit down, chill, take your shoes off. But it's very rare that you meet people that still retain that energy once they've been in this space, in this industry, because you can lose that joy and you can lose that people pleasure that you can get from people and just become very like, yeah, cool. Just, I've got this happening. But you still seem like you care. The long and short is, how do you still look at keeping that spark and the energy that you have for your career and just for your later life?
I don't sort of do it consciously. I just feel so blessed, so lucky. And I was raised by a woman who was like literally force feeding me with gratitude on a daily basis. Like every night before bed, she'd be like, what was your favourite bit of the day? Like I'd have to acknowledge small pleasures. Like as a child, she'd be like, we're so lucky. She'd make me watch the news, and it was back in them days, it was like much more graphic, I think, than it is now. She'd be like, sit here, watch what's going on in this country and then tell me that you're not going to finish your plate. It was like that. So I was like really raised to be like that, and I still feel like that. But I also feel like maybe my wealth isn't financial, and I think that feeling, that kind of like what makes me a success, what makes me feel wealthy, isn't to do with like material things or whatever. It's just to do with how much love and support I have around me. And like I've got so many amazing friends who I admire so much that I've known since before I did this job. And they're all just so incredible. And I just, and most of them, with the exception of maybe one or two people, aren't in the public eye, and I haven't met them. I met them before from school or whatever, and I just think, wow, these people are so incredible, and I don't know, I just feel really lucky, and I feel lucky to have kids and be a mother, and I also have this privileged situation now where I've got to a point in my career where I do have long-term security because I live in a house that I own, which means no one can ever turf me onto the street. And I've got for the first time ever in my life today, I feel like I'll always be able to make ends meet. I could, you know, my mum's always saying, you should just do the Pizza Express jazz tour. You know, like, she says, I'm like, I could always just do that though. Do you know what I mean? It would be okay because
I didn't know that was the thing, you know?
You know, like,
I know they do it in some of the restaurants.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that was the thing.
You know, I could always just do a little residency at Dalston Vortex Jazz Bar or whatever. It would be okay. I feel like I'm not worried anymore, and I feel like I've been worried for years.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Oh, Paloma, man,
Thanks.
This has been such a pleasure to have you on the pod, you know.
Thank you.
I know you're heavily
so
pregnant,
nice
so
to be here.
I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Come to birth. Bring the camera crew. I'm inviting everyone. Third time round.
Before we leave, we always have an audience question that I put in my story. And the question that we have for you today is a very fun question. And that question is, who is the most famous person you have in your phone book?
Depends. Like I always say, I think Samuel L. Jackson is because he's the most famous, wonderful person that will respond to me.
Really?
Yeah. So like came on my podcast. I wouldn't do that to him because I don't want to abuse the contact.
Who is this motherfucker?
Yeah. But he did come on my podcast because I was like, oh no, this is like me asking you for something and I don't know what I've done for you.
How did you get his number?
Well, I met him at a BAFTAs thing and then he was like, well, I think you're great, and his assistant was with him, and then they asked me to do a charity job for him because he was doing loads of stuff to do with I think prostate or testicular cancer, like male cancers. And I was like, cool, it's anything for you. I just to be in your presence. And then on that night, he like grabbed my arm and said, I owe you. And when I say that, I'm a man of my word, which is what I'm like. So, you know, you were saying about the podcast. If I say I'm going to do something, I always do it. And he's like that. So then he read something on one of my albums. And then years later, I was like, I've got this podcast. And he said to me, when I asked him to do it, he said, I've never done a podcast before and I probably never will again, but as you know, I struggle saying no to you, Paloma. And he just came to my house and bloody came to Hackney and stroked the neighbour's cat in the garden, who still doesn't know to this day that their cat was stroked by him. And so he's my most famous contact. I do have other contacts of people that are quite famous, but they don't always reply.
Who are they?
Whereas Sam will always
Let us know.
reply.
Air them out on the podcast right now to Blood Clayer.
No, but sometimes they do, and then you're like, oh, maybe they were busy.
Yeah.
But I think Sam's like the most honourable, true. As I said before, I think the most talented people are usually the most down to earth and nicest. The ones who buy into all the flashiness and stuff, usually they don't last. And he doesn't.
They're the ones that don't do the podcast.
Yeah. Death to all of them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And this has been your beginning, middle and end.
Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Now, a lot goes into making each episode. I know you hear my voice, but there's a team behind the scenes who help make it. And if you did enjoy it, I'd really, really appreciate if you could show the love to them by giving us 5 stars. And if you also have the time, please leave us a review. It's always appreciated and we love reading the comments. And of course, we want to keep making it better. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Peace.